Every artist has a beginning. Most of them start with a dream. Some of them start with a wound. This one starts with both. Welcome to In the Loop. I'm Charlie, and today we're talking about an underground rock artist whose songs sound like they were written for people the world forgot to notice. This is Sam&Sa. The guitar hum softens into something slower, more intimate, a melody that feels like a memory being held carefully in both hands. I want you to picture something for me. A little boy, 8 years old, sitting on the floor of his bedroom, and in the corner, there's a guitar. Big, old, worn down at the edges. It doesn't belong to him. It belonged to his dad, and his dad is gone. His name is Sam&Sa, and that guitar is the beginning of everything. He didn't pick it up because he wanted to perform. He didn't pick it up because someone told him he had talent. He picked it up because it was the closest thing he had left to his father. Because when he wrapped his small hands around those strings in some way he couldn't explain. It felt like the conversation wasn't completely over. That's where Sam&Sa begins. Not in a studio, not on a stage, on the floor of a quiet bedroom, with a guitar that was never supposed to be his, and a grief that had nowhere else to go. Growing up, he paid attention to the people around him in a way most of us forget to. The neighbor who worked 2 jobs and never complained. The kid at school who smiled every day and clearly wasn't okay. The people who kept moving, not because things were fine, but because stopping wasn't something they could afford. Sam watched all of them, and he noticed something. Nobody was telling their story. Nobody was writing songs about the quiet ones. The ones who didn't have a highlight reel. The ones who just kept going. And somewhere in that, a feeling started to build in him. This need, not for fame, not for money, but to build something that said, I see you, I hear you, you are not invisible. He pours all of that into one project. 3 words. Life goes on. And then, and this is the part I think about, Sam does something that a lot of people in his exact position would never do. He doesn't send demos to labels. He doesn't wait for someone in a corner office somewhere to decide his story is worth telling. He just puts the music out himself. No label, no manager, no safety net underneath him. Going independent sounds like freedom. And in a lot of ways, it is. But freedom doesn't pay for microphones. It doesn't cover mixing costs, or distribution fees, or the 100 other things standing between a song in your head and a song in someone's ears. Every decision Sam makes has a price tag attached to it, and there's no one else covering it. Just him, every month, stretching whatever he has far enough to keep the music alive. But the money, as hard as it is, that's not actually the hardest part of Sam's story. The hardest part is a phone call from home. Sam's mother raised him alone after his father died. She held their whole world together with her own 2 hands. And now she's watching her son pour everything, time, money, energy, any sense of stability, into music, with no guarantee, no clear path to anything solid. She's already lived through losing everything once. She knows what it feels like when the ground disappears, and she cannot go through that again. Sam knows all of this. He understands every single part of it. And he keeps going anyway. And then this is my favorite part, something starts to happen. The songs find people. Not overnight, not in some big viral moment. Just quietly, slowly. One person here, another there. A comment from someone across the world saying the song sounds like something they'd been trying to put into words for years. A message from a stranger saying they played it on repeat the whole drive home and cried and couldn't explain why. Sam reads these messages, and something unlocks in him, because he realizes something he hadn't fully understood before. Not that he made the music, that the music was never only his. He was writing about everyone he'd ever watched carry something in silence. And something shifts with his mother too, quietly. Sam stops fighting her fear, stops trying to argue her into seeing things his way. He starts to understand it for what it actually is. Love, scared, exhausted. She's not against him. She's terrified of losing him. And once Sam really understands that, the weight between them changes. I want to be honest with you about something. This story doesn't tie up clean. The money doesn't suddenly work itself out. Sam figures out how to live inside the pressure, how to stretch what he has, how to keep the music moving even when the foundation feels uncertain. And with his mother, it's not one conversation that fixes everything. Real life is messier than that. The tension still lives in the space between them. Sam keeps moving forward, knowing that his choice costs her something. So here's where Sam&Sa stands today. Independent artist, debut EP, built on his own terms, released into the world on nothing but belief and stubbornness, reaching people in cities he's never visited, speaking to feelings they didn't have words for before they heard the songs. There's no clean ending here, because the story isn't over, it's still going. But here's what I know. Sam&Sa picked up his father's guitar because he didn't know what else to do with the silence. What he couldn't have known, at 8 years old, sitting on the floor of that bedroom, is that the silence was never only his. It belonged to everyone who never had a song written for them. And Sam wrote them one. That's Sam&Sa. And that's In the Loop for today. I'm Charlie. We'll see you next time.